Here's a question most people are too uncomfortable to answer honestly. If your next paycheck didn't arrive, how long could you last? Not indefinitely. Not until you figured something out. Specifically, how many days could you cover your rent, your food, your bills before the money ran out entirely? For a significant portion of people, the answer is less than 2 weeks. For many, it's less than 1. And the uncomfortable part isn't the number itself. It's that a lot of people earning decent money, people who by most external standards look financially okay, are one missed paycheck away from a genuinely serious problem. Living paycheck to paycheck isn't just a low-income problem. It's a systems problem. It happens to people earning $40,000 a year and people earning $120,000 a year. The income changes, the lifestyle adjusts to match, and the gap between what comes in and what goes out stays almost exactly the same regardless of the number on the pay stub. This video is a 7-day plan to break that cycle. Not a motivational framework. Not a list of things to think about eventually. A specific day-by-day sequence of actions that, if you follow them in order, will fundamentally change the structure of your finances by the end of the week. Day 1 through Day 7. Let's go through each one. Day 1, the honest audit. Know exactly where you stand. Most people have a rough idea of their financial situation. They know approximately what they earn, approximately what they spend, and approximately how much is in the bank. The problem is approximately is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence, and the gap between approximate and actual is usually where the real problem lives. Day 1 is about closing that gap. You're going to get a precise, honest picture of your current financial situation in 4 steps. Step 1. Write down your actual monthly take-home income. Not your salary. Not your gross pay. The number that actually lands in your account after taxes and any deductions. If your income varies month to month, use the average of the last 3 months. If you have multiple income sources, add them all. This is your real starting number. Step 2. Pull up the last 60 days of bank and credit card statements. Every account. Every card. Don't skip anything because it feels embarrassing or complicated. You're looking for the complete picture, not a filtered version of it. Step 3. Calculate the real number. Total income minus total spending. What's left, if anything? Or, more commonly, by how much did spending exceed what you intended? Most people doing this honestly for the first time find at least one significant surprise. A subscription they forgot about. A spending category that's dramatically higher than they thought. A pattern of small purchases that adds up to a meaningful monthly figure. That surprise is the point of the exercise. You can't address a problem you can't see clearly. By the end of Day 1, you should have your exact monthly take-home income, a clear breakdown of where the last 60 days of spending went, an honest number representing the gap between income and outgoings. Don't judge what you find. Don't try to fix it yet. Just see it clearly. The fixing starts tomorrow. Day 2. The reset separate needs, wants, and waste. Now that you can see exactly where the money went, Day 2 is about sorting it. Not in a moralistic way, not labeling yourself irresponsible for anything you spent money on, but in a practical way that helps you understand which expenses are fixed, which are flexible, and which ones you're funding entirely out of habit. There are 3 categories worth separating. Category 1. Non-negotiables. These are expenses that exist whether you like them or not. Rent or mortgage. Utility bills. Minimum debt payments. Basic groceries. Health insurance. Transportation costs for work. These aren't going anywhere in the next 30 days. They're your baseline floor. Add these up. This is the minimum your life costs each month. Whatever your income is above this number is the margin you actually have to work with. Category 2. Intentional choices. These are expenses you're choosing to have and are genuinely okay with. A gym membership you use consistently. A streaming service you actually watch. Dining out a few times a month because you enjoy it and you've decided it's worth the money. The word intentional is doing real work here. An intentional expense is one you'd consciously choose again if given the decision today. Not one you're just continuing because you never decided to stop. Category 3. Unintentional spending. This is the category most people underestimate. It includes subscriptions you forgot were still running, purchases made on impulse that don't reflect any deliberate choice, spending driven by boredom, habit, or social pressure, fees and charges that accumulated without you noticing. The goal of Day 2 is to honestly sort everything from your audit into these 3 categories. What you'll often find is that a meaningful portion of spending sits in category 3, not because you're irresponsible, but because most modern spending is designed to happen automatically, without conscious decision-making at each moment. Once you've sorted everything, here's what to do with what you find. 4. Unintentional spending. Cancel subscriptions you don't use. Write down the impulse purchase patterns you notice. You're not making permanent decisions today, but you're identifying what's negotiable. For intentional choices, this is where real honesty matters. Some of these are genuine priorities. Some are things you call intentional because calling them unintentional would require doing something about them. Try to be precise about the difference. 4 non-negotiables. Accept them as fixed for now. Some of them, like housing costs, might need to be addressed in a bigger way at some point. But not this week. By the end of day 2, you should have a clear map of where your spending is flexible. That map is what the rest of the week builds on. Day 3. The plan. Build a real budget that actually works. The word budget has a reputation problem. Most people associate it with restriction, with tracking every dollar in a spreadsheet, with saying no to everything remotely enjoyable. That version of budgeting almost never works because it treats financial management as willpower rather than system design. A budget that actually works isn't a list of things you're not allowed to buy. It's a spending plan, a document that tells your money where to go before the month starts, so you're not looking back at the end of the month wondering where it went. Day 3 is about building that plan. Here's a simple structure that works for most situations. The 50/30/20 framework as a starting point. 50% of take-home income to needs, your non-negotiables from day 2, 30% to wants, your intentional choices, 20% to savings and debt repayment. This isn't a rigid rule. It's a starting point. If you're in a high cost of living city, your needs percentage might reasonably be higher. If you're aggressively trying to pay down debt, you might want to temporarily shift more than 20% to that. But as a baseline, it's useful because it forces a concrete question. Does my actual spending roughly match this? And if not, where's the gap? Building your specific plan. Start with your monthly take-home income as the total. Assign your non-negotiables first. These are fixed. Write them down with their actual amounts, not rough estimates. Then assign a specific number to each flexible category: groceries, dining out, entertainment, clothing, miscellaneous. The specific number matters. I'll spend less on food is not a plan. My grocery budget is $300 and my dining out budget is $150 is a plan. Make sure your savings and debt payment amount is explicitly included as a line in the budget, not as whatever's left. This distinction is important. When savings and debt payments are treated as what's left over, there's rarely anything left over. When they're assigned as a fixed line item at the start, they happen regardless. Add everything up. If the total exceeds your income, you need to make cuts. Start with the flexible categories and work backward. Be specific about what you're reducing and by how much. Day 4. The cut. Reduce your fixed costs wherever possible. The budget you built on day 3 is based on your current expenses. Some of those expenses are genuinely fixed. But some things that feel fixed are actually negotiable, and day 4 is about finding them. This is about going after the bigger wins, not individual coffees. The small daily purchases matter, but the lever that changes your financial picture fastest is reducing fixed monthly costs, because those reductions compound every single month automatically without you having to make a new decision each time. Here's where to look. Subscriptions and recurring charges. Go back through your bank statements from day 1 and make a list of every single recurring charge. Every subscription, every membership, every automatic payment. Then ask of each one, have I used this in the last 30 days? If not, cancel it today. Don't schedule it. Do it now. Subscription services count on inertia. They're designed to continue until someone specifically stops them. Be the person who stops them. Insurance premiums. Most people get insurance once and never revisit it. Car insurance, renters or homeowners insurance, life insurance. Rates change. Your situation changes. Calling your insurer and asking if there's a better rate available, or spending 20 minutes getting a comparison quote, frequently results in meaningful savings with no change in coverage. This is low effort for what it can return. Phone and internet plans. Both of these are categories where the market changes faster than most people's plans do. If you haven't looked at your phone plan in 2 years, there's a reasonable chance a better option exists at a lower price. Same for internet. A 15-minute conversation with your provider asking for a retention rate or a quick comparison of competing plans often produces savings with no downside. Debt interest rates. If you're carrying high-interest credit card debt, the interest payments themselves are a significant fixed cost. This is worth addressing directly. Options include calling your credit card company and asking for a rate reduction. This works more often than people expect. Consolidating to a lower-rate personal loan, or transferring to a 0% balance transfer card if you qualify and can pay it off within the promotional period. None of these are guaranteed, but none of them cost anything to try. Housing costs. This is the largest expense for most people and the hardest to change quickly. But it's worth examining. Are there costs attached to your housing situation that could be reduced? A parking spot you could give up? A storage unit you're paying for that could be cleared out? A room you could rent to offset costs? This isn't about drastic moves. It's about asking the question honestly. Day 5, the foundation. Start your emergency fund. Everything you've done in the first 4 days, the audit, the reset, the plan, the cuts, is foundational but fragile without this piece. Because the reason most people slip back into paycheck-to-paycheck mode isn't that they lack discipline. It's that one unexpected expense wipes out whatever progress they've made, and they're back to zero. An emergency fund is the structural fix for that problem. It's the difference between a financial setback and a financial catastrophe. And day 5 is about starting one, even if you can only start small. What an emergency fund actually is: a separate savings account, not your checking account, not a credit card line, not "I'll figure it out." An actual account that holds cash specifically reserved for unexpected necessary expenses. Car repairs, medical bills, a sudden job loss. Not vacations, not something you want. Genuine emergencies. The target, over time, is 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. For now, that number is probably too far away to feel motivating. So don't start there. Start with a closer target. The first milestone, $1,000. $1,000 covers the most common financial emergencies most people face. A car repair, a medical copay, a broken appliance. It's not a complete safety net, but it's enough to handle the events that most frequently derail people's finances and push them into debt. If you have nothing saved right now, $1,000 is the target for the next 30 to 60 days. Not eventually. Specifically, in the next 30 to 60 days. Day 6, the system. Automate everything so it runs without you. Here's the reason most people can't maintain financial progress, even when they understand exactly what to do. It requires too many decisions. Every month, you have to remember to transfer to savings. Every month, you have to decide how much to invest. Every month, you have to resist spending the money before you move it somewhere intentional. That's an enormous amount of ongoing willpower for something that should just happen. Component 1. Automate your savings contribution. Log into your bank account today and set up an automatic transfer from checking to your emergency fund savings account. The transfer should happen on the same day your paycheck deposits, or the day after, before you've had a chance to spend the money. Component 2. Automate your investment contributions. If you have access to a workplace retirement account, make sure your contribution is set up as a payroll deduction, meaning it never lands in your checking account in the first place. If your employer matches contributions, contribute at least enough to get the full match. Not doing this is equivalent to turning down part of your compensation. Component 3. Automate your bill payments. Set every fixed bill, rent, utilities, insurance, minimum debt payments to autopay. This eliminates late fees, protects your credit score, and removes the mental overhead of remembering what's due when. Just make sure your checking account balance stays above the total of your autopay commitments, which your budget from day 3 should ensure. Day 7. The audit of income. Look at what you earn, not just what you spend. The first 6 days of this plan focus on managing and restructuring what you already have. Day 7 steps back and asks a different question. Is what you're earning enough to build the life you're actually trying to build? This isn't a motivational push to make more money. It's a practical, honest examination of whether your current income is sufficient to fund your real goals over a real timeline. Because for some people, the paycheck-to-paycheck problem is primarily a spending problem. But for others, it's primarily an income problem, or some combination of both. And the solutions look different depending on the honest answer. Step 1. Look at your budget from day 3 with fresh eyes. When everything is automated and your cuts are in place, How much are you actually saving and investing each month? If the number is zero or close to it, despite having done all the work this week, that's meaningful information. It suggests the problem isn't just spending habits. It suggests the income side of the equation needs attention too. Step 2. Calculate your actual savings rate. Take your monthly savings and investment contributions, divide by your monthly take-home income, and multiply by 100. That's your savings rate. A savings rate of less than 5% is a real problem regardless of income. A savings rate of 10 to 20% is where most financial plans start working. If your budget, even optimized, only produces a 2 or 3% savings rate, you have limited runway to build any real financial security. Step 3. Honestly assess your income situation. This is where the real work of day 7 happens. Ask yourself the following questions and try to answer them without either catastrophizing or dismissing. Is there a clear path to a higher income in my current job? A promotion you're eligible for, a raise conversation that's overdue, skills you could develop that would change your earning trajectory. Are there income options available to you outside your main job? This isn't about becoming an entrepreneur or building a complex side hustle. It's about whether there are realistic near-term options. Freelance work in your field. Part-time work. Selling skills or services you already have. Is your current career field compensating you at the level your skills and experience should command? Sometimes the biggest income lever isn't a raise at your current job. It's recognizing that the market would pay you more elsewhere. Are there non-monetary resources you're not using? Professional networks that could open opportunities. Skills you have but aren't being paid for. Knowledge that someone else would pay for if it were packaged differently. 7 days. One honest audit. A budget that actually reflects your real life. Some cuts to expenses that were negotiable. An emergency fund that started. A system that runs automatically. And an honest look at whether your income needs to change too. None of this is complicated. All of it requires you to actually do it, not to file it away as something to think about later, not to feel good about having watched a video about it, but to open the accounts, run the numbers, and make the decisions. If you want to go deeper on any specific part of this plan, I'm breaking each piece down individually in upcoming videos. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss them. And if this gave you something useful, drop a comment telling me which day of the plan you're starting with. I read every one.